Hi, I'm Kevin Walsh with Iron Mountain's federal team here in Washington, D.C. Iron Mountain's a 60-year-old company and sits at an interesting juncture in the records management world. We deal with 990 plus of the Fortune 1000. We deal with virtually every federal agency, and it gives us a unique insight into the world of records management. Through Iron Mountain's history, we've evolved from a company that protected records during the Cold War for Wall Street to a company now that is trying to position itself at the head of the conversation when it comes to the evolution of records, from the physical nature of where things were to the electronic nature of where things are going, and certainly where everybody would like to get to. One constant theme that we see is a lack of balance that a lot of companies struggle with when it comes to records management. We find that companies sometimes get a little bit too enamored with the shiny object in the corner. In our home lives, we always want the next best, greatest thing. We want the new iPad or the new HD TV or something like that. But what we found is that when it comes to records management, it's more than that. It's very important to develop a program that has a solid foundation, and we liken it to a building. And a solid records management program has to have a very strong foundation, much like a skyscraper can't go high without a very strong foundation. And the foundation of a records management program isn't necessarily that new widget or that new piece of technology that everybody's talking about. Sometimes it's getting the program in place. And this comes from a lot of experience. Again, we have the ability to have seen most of the Fortune 1000. We hear the challenges, we hear the pain points that customers have on a regular basis, and when it comes down to it, sometimes it's more simple. Sometimes it's the right schedules, it's the right path, but sometimes it's even more than that. It's just three things really if we look at it. It's that foundation that we talked about. I think you got to have the executive sponsorship from the top, and I think it's almost as important to make sure that you're training personnel and employees across the enterprise. Working with a company like Iron Mountain brings you that wealth of experience that we do have, and I would encourage anyone to deal with a company like Iron Mountain and find out what your peers are doing. Find out what that Fortune 100, Fortune 50, what are the best and the brightest doing to make sure that their records management programs are in place, they're in line, they have that solid foundation. Because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily the best. It's not necessarily spending a ton of money. We hear so often today that doing more with less, it's easy. A lot of federal agencies right now have the technology in place, but it's getting to utilize it better that I think is key. And that's one thing that a company like Iron Mountain can help agencies deal with. For more information, go to Iron Mountain's website, ironmountain.com or ironmountain.com/federal.